Hi, I'm Lauren Passell. I'm the founder of Tink Media, a podcast growth company, and I have two newsletters, Podcast the Newsletter, which is all about discovery, and Podcast Marketing Magic, which makes podcast marketing fun. Today, we're going to talk about how to set up a promo swap. A promo swap is an agreement between two shows. Each one will read a 30-second ad read for the other show on their own. To set one up, you have to find a show with similar audience, reach out, and craft the rules of your partnership. A great way to find your perfect audience is to find shows that have similar audiences to yours and find a way to work with them. This presentation will show you how to determine which shows to work with and what kind of things you can do together. Some things in podcast marketing, like getting featured in a podcast app or running an ad, will cause a spike. But promo swaps will lead to slow and steady growth. You'll be targeting the perfect audience, the people who will become your biggest advocates, and the people who will come back every time and tell all their friends about you. Step 1. Find podcasts that have audience overlap with you. The first thing you should do is open a big spreadsheet and make a list of shows you want to work with. I like to think about it as looking for your podcast friends and setting your podcast up on playdates. You can think of it however you want if that's too cheesy for you. The point is you're setting up partnerships. So find your show or one that's similar on Apple Podcasts. If you scroll to the bottom, you'll see a carousel called You Might Also Like. That's Apple giving you data about where your audience might be. Research a few to make sure they're a good match and that you would feel comfortable recommending these shows. And make sure it's still active. If it hasn't dropped an episode for a few months, you can still reach out because they might just be on hiatus. And this is where your list begins. If you find a great match, find that show on Apple Podcasts and repeat the process. Now you're going down some rabbit holes. Google best your genre podcasts plus Player FM. Like if you have a gardening podcast, Google best gardening podcasts, Player FM. Player FM will give you a list of shows that are in your genre, and you can dive into similar podcasts to the shows you select. I like Player FM because it says up front when the last episode was produced, so you can immediately see if this is someone who might be interested in working with you. Listen Notes is like the Wikipedia of podcasts. You can search for your show or a show like it to find good comps. Raphonic.com/graph is one of my favorite places on the internet. It shows you the galaxy or neighborhood your podcast lives inside. Once you're in there, you can swivel your show around to see shows that, based on Apple Podcast data, have audience overlap with you. You can click on a show to learn more or go to the podcast's own graph, which will be a bit different, but might stir up some ideas for you. Now you're deeper in the rabbit hole. Find a good match, search for that podcast using all of these techniques. Your list should include the show name, the person's name that you will be contacting, and their email address. If you have Listen Notes Premium, you can click on a button that will give you the address. But even if you don't, you can search the show's RSS feed and the email address will be there. But don't abuse this. Do not spam people. Only reach out if you're proposing a meaningful partnership. Okay, so now you have your list and you have to write a pitch letter. No, I don't like the word pitch letter. These are just letters. Make them short, 300 words max. If you can get it down to 100, that's even better. Make it personal, and each letter should be different. If you aren't spending 15 to 20 minutes on each show, you aren't being careful enough. Explain who you are, what your show is about, and why you think you should be working together. You can suggest a few ideas, like I think we should set up a promo swap, but also mention they are open to other ideas. You never know what will come from mentioning this. Barter for a partnership that helps both shows grow. This could be a promo swap, a feed swap, a guest swap, or a social media newsletter swap. If you go back and forth with your new podcast friends, you might think of something totally fun and out of the box. Those are my favorite kind of things. It could be a mix of these things. Ideally, what you want is to work with a show that is similar in size, but if it's not, put your bartering hat on. What can you give them to sweeten the deal? What's something they want that you have? What's the thing that you want that they have? It doesn't matter what day you send, and you can email again just once after the initial pitch. You can say, I just wanted to make sure you saw this, but I wouldn't follow up more than once. After the deal is made, get to setting up a timeline and execute. Remember to be organized and track everything. Ideally, you will have at least one promo swap in all of your episodes and a feed swap or two sprinkled in per season. Repeat anything that works again and again. If you have a successful swap, wait a few months and repeat. People are usually very receptive to repetition anyway. Setting up promo swaps can help grow your show, and I also think they'll help you make podcast friends, and I think you'll have a lot of fun doing it. Let me know how it goes.